Now that we've gone through place value, now we're going to look at how to turn decimals into fractions. Remember, to go from a fraction to a decimal, we divide. To go from a decimal to a fraction, we have to know place value. We have to know place value. So make sure you've got your place value notes that we just did handy to help you out. So the way that we turn a decimal into fraction is we have these kind of 3 steps. First, we look at the number, we pretend like the decimal isn't there. So if I pretend that decimal's not there, I just have the number 3. So I've got 3. Now I need my place value. So here I see I have 1, 2 numbers after the decimal. What place value has 2 numbers after the decimal? Hundredths, tenths, hundredths. So the way that we would read this number is 3 hundredths. 3 hundredths. And now we just take that information and we put it into a fraction. My numerator is the number I have without my decimal, 3. My place value is my hundredths. So I take those words and I turn them into numbers. 3 over 100, 3 hundredths. Our next one, again, we read the number without the decimal. 9. Just 9. Then we see we have 1 number after the decimal. What is 1 number after the decimal called? Look at your note sheet if you're not sure. Tenths. 9 tenths. So all together, 9 is going to be my numerator. Tenths are going to be my denominator, the number 9. And then tenths is represented by the number 10. So that fraction, 9 over 10. 9 tenths. It's said the same way. You read decimals and fractions the exact same way. This next one, we have 1, 2, 3 numbers after the decimal. So what do we call 3 numbers after the decimal? 3 numbers after the decimals are thousandths. Thousandths. So reading the number without, we have 701. 701 thousandths. 701 thousandths. So my numerator is that 701. My denominator is thousandths. When we read this number 701, a lot of people want to say 701, but that's not actually correct. We say and when we get to that decimal. The word and when you're reading a number means that there's a decimal place there. Please add that word and in there because we want to be very specific when we're reading. We want to be very specific when we're reading. Because if you read the number 701, this would be 701. But that's not the number we have here. But if we say 701, that's that number, 701. So the and is only for the decimal. The and is only for the decimal. All right, let's scoot down now that we've had some practice. So the verbal form of the decimal becomes the fraction. Like I said, you read the decimal and you read the fraction the exact same way. So the verbal of the decimal becomes the fraction. The number, without the decimal, becomes the numerator. The place value, how we had to count, our place value becomes the denominator. And when possible, you need to simplify by dividing by the greatest common factor. And we're going to review that in just a little bit. So go ahead, pause the video, get those words written in. And then we also want you to fill in these next few steps on your own with the 0.08, 0.6. How is that written? How is that read? The verbal, the fraction, and then how you can simplify it. It has the simplifying on there for you already. You just need to, and then the next video will show you how they are simplifying, how they're doing that. So go ahead, pause the video, fill those two out for us, please. All right, check your answers and see if they match mine. The biggest thing, be careful with that THS. After the decimal, we see THS instead of DS or NS. So please be careful with that. Now we're going to go into a review of how to simplify fractions when we're finding this GCF, that greatest common factor. If you have any questions, make sure you check in with us. Please, please, please let us know if you need anything. Good luck.